Ever look at some of the technologies in the Metal Gear games and think, that couldn't possibly be real? Well, here are 10 Metal Gear technologies that actually exist. Number 10. The Fault and Recovery System. The Fault and Recovery System that was used to capture enemies and POWs in Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker and will be used in MGS5 The Phantom Pain is a very real thing. Although it is a bit more complicated in real life than it is in the world of Metal Gear. Inspired by the way that British mail trains would pick up mailbags from the side of the track, Robert Edison Fulton Jr. created a similar system to be used by airplanes for the CIA. The system would be called the Fulton Surface-to-Air Recovery System, or STARS for short. No, not that one. This one. A portable helium canister would inflate a dirigible-shaped balloon that was connected to a 500-foot braided nylon cable. The other end of the cable would be attached to cargo or to a person in order to lift them into the air. Then, in the air, a specially modified airplane with a 30-foot long V-shaped hook on its nose would fly into the 500-foot line and hook it so that the line would be then dragged behind the plane, so that the cargo or person could then be brought in through the cargo bay door at the back of the plane. The first ever human recovery using the Fulton system was on August 12, 1958, when Staff Sergeant Levi W. Woods of the U.S. Marine Corps was winched on board the Neptune. The entire process from inflation to pickup took about 6 minutes. Number 9. The Cypher Navy drones from Metal Gear Solid 2. Many people know now that drones are a real thing. Practically anyone can buy one and use them recreationally. But back in 2001 when MGS2 was released, the vast majority of people weren't very privy to the knowledge of these things being real. But I want to talk about the actual Cypher drones from MGS2. You know, the flying saucer-shaped ones with the cameras on top of them. These things have actually been around since the late 80s, when Sikorsky Aircraft created and flew a UAV called Cypher. It had coaxial rotors inside a torus or three-dimensional ring-shaped airframe. However, unlike an MGS2 where the Cypher is smaller than Snake is, the real-life Cypher is nearly 6 feet in diameter, and later a second version called the Cypher 2 was developed for the US Marine Corps that was a little over 6 feet in diameter. And due to the shape of the Cypher, it has even been mistaken for a UFO by dozens of people. Number 8. The Davy Crockett System. During the Cold War, with the constant threat of a very hot war with Russia, a tactical nuclear recoilless gun was developed by the United States for use if the war were to break out in Europe. This gun was named the Davy Crockett System after the American folk hero. The gun came in 2 varieties, the M28 and the M29. The M28 was a 4-inch or 120mm gun with a range of about 1.25 miles. And the M29 was a 6.1-inch or 155mm gun with a range of 2.5 miles. Both models used the same ammunition, an M388 small nuclear warhead, and the guns themselves would either be set up onto a tripod or even attached to the back of a Jeep. Which brings up an interesting MGS5 theory. What if you could do something like this with the vehicle customization in the Phantom Pain? Number 7. The Railgun. In 1918, a French inventor named Louis-Octave Fauchon-Villeplaye, sorry if I butchered that name, invented an early predecessor of today's railgun. However, the first actual railgun was built during World War II in 1944 by Joachim Hansler of Germany's Ordnance Office. The railgun works by having 2 parallel metal rails connected to an electrical power supply, one rail positively charged and one negatively charged. Then a conductive projectile is placed at the end between the rails and it completes the circuit. Electrons flow from the power supply and up the negative rail, then through the projectile, back down the positive rail, and back to the power supply. This process makes the railgun act like an electromagnet and has the ability to propel the projectile out of the gun at possible speeds of up to Mach 10, which is over 7,000 miles an hour. Much faster than other conventional weapons that use explosives in order to propel a projectile. Number 6. Raiden's white blood in MGS4. Ever wonder why the hell is MGS4's cyborg Raiden's blood white? Well, the answer may be oxycyte. Oxycyte is an experimental perfluorocarbon, or PFC, therapeutic oxygen carrier invented by Leland Clark and developed by Oxygen Therapeutics Incorporated. It is a pure white compound that was designed to enhance oxygen delivery to damaged tissues. PFCs are compounds created that strictly contain only carbon and fluorine. When used intravenously, Oxycyte can carry as much as 5 times more oxygen than hemoglobin can. This makes it an effective means of transporting oxygen to tissues and carrying carbon dioxide to the lungs for disposal. However, unlike an MGS-4, Oxycyte cannot completely replace blood, because it is a one-trick pony and can currently only deliver oxygen, and not all the other things we need to live, like nutrients and hormones. Number 5. The Sneaking Suit. The sneaking suit worn by Solid Snake and many other figures in the Metal Gear universe is a specially designed smart suit that is created with an electronic weaving technology that uses optic fibers. It clings tightly to the body and can boost strength. It is equipped with a variety of sensors to maintain the safety of the wearer, and can even shield them from toxins. It can also be designed to restrict blood flow to points of the body to prevent them from bleeding to death upon injury. In 1985, an inventor named Harry Wainwright created the first fully animated sweatshirt created with fiber optics, leads, and a microprocessor in order to play a fully animated cartoon on the surface of the shirt. That was just an early model of the things we have planned for the future. The military is currently looking into wearable technology that has sensors that can use biomarkers such as blood, saliva, sweat, and urine to detect things like chemical and biological weapons, nuclear radiation, and even traces of explosives left by roadside bombs. It could even detect how extensive a soldier's injuries are, and could even track them using GPS to alert their location to medics. Number 4. Nano Machines. Nano Machines in MGS are capable of doing everything from healing injuries to maintaining body chemicals to prevent high levels of emotions that could cause post-traumatic stress disorder from battlefield shell shock. This is a real-life technology that is being developed right now. But as of now, it is still pretty early in the development process. Chemists at the University of Nebraska have created a humidity gauge by actually creating a cyborg. They got a bacteria to assimilate with an electronic device, thus creating a bacterial cyborg. The bacteria itself can survive for up to 2 days without nutrients, but even after the cell dies, the machine assimilated with it continues to function for up to a month after death. So in essence, they pretty much created a microscopic cyborg zombie. Good job, scientists, jumping right into creating a zombie. Number 3. The MGS-3 Hovercraft. I've always thought that the Hovercraft from MGS-3 was one of the most unbelievable technologies within the MGS universe. I mean, come on, hovercrafts like that in the 1960s? No way. Actually, it was the 1950s. The original concept was developed by Charles H. Zimmerman in the late 1940s. Then Hiller Aircraft and the De Lackner Company developed the idea further. There were 2 models created. The first model was the Office of Naval Research, or ONR model, 1031A1, which was developed in 1953 and was successfully flown in 1955. The ONR model used 2 44-horsepower Nelson H-59 piston engines, coupled to the propellers by a modified helicopter transmission. The second model was the VZ-1 Pawnee model, which was a larger model and used 3 engines and had an extended duct area. They were originally made to carry soldiers over the battlefield to attack from above, but due to the small size, slow movement, and barely being able to fly using a cushion of air beneath them, the government deemed them unpractical for the battlefield, and only 6 prototypes, 3 of each model, were developed. Number 2. Stealth Camouflage. Stealth camouflage has been a human dream for as long as history. From the cap of invisibility worn by Perseus in Greek mythology, to the stealth camo used by an alien predator, to the invisibility cloak in Harry Potter. Invisibility has always been a dream. But could that dream become a reality? Well, yes, actually. But we are still a ways off on perfecting the technology. A Japanese university led by Dr. Susume Tachi has developed a kind of augmented reality that they call retroreflective projection technology. They have designed a special cloak made of billions of tiny beads that reflect light back from the way it came. A camera in the back of the cloak is connected to a projector in the front of the cloak that will project the image from the camera onto the front of the cloak, making the wearer appear almost invisible. Pretty cool, but it has a few drawbacks. You need a lot of setup and technology to lug around with you to create this effect, so it is very unpractical. However, if you combine this technology with the previously mentioned smart clothing I talked about with the sneaking suit, then it could indeed create a good start for this technology. There is also a Canadian company that has designed camo patterns for the military that claims that they have created what they call quantum stealth technology. that will allow the wearer to become practically invisible in any terrain. They claim that the government is interested in their technology, but there is currently no video of this technology in action, and they claim that that is due to security reasons. There are currently only mock-up pictures of what the technology could look like, so I am not entirely certain how credible this technology is, but if it is real, it would revolutionize the military world. And number 1. Real-life Metal Gears. What would Metal Gear be without Metal Gears? Otacon explains that his design for Metal Gear Rex was inspired by his favorite Japanese mecha animes. And turns out, he wasn't the only one inspired by anime. The Japanese firm, Suidobashi Heavy Industry, created what they call Parathas, and they showed it off at the Wonder Festival outside of Tokyo in 2012. This real-life mech was created through a collaboration between artist Kogoro Kurata and roboticist Wataru Yoshizaki. It is 13 feet tall, weighs in at around 4 tons, and has a base cost of $1.3 million. And it can be equipped with whatever you want, including weaponry. It can be controlled by a pilot in the cockpit, or can even be controlled by a smartphone. It is currently equipped with a LOHAS launcher that can launch bottles of water at a target, but it is a bit inaccurate at the moment. It is also equipped with twin badass Gatling guns that can fire 6,000 BBs a minute. Yeah, it's just a big toy right now, but it's a good start. Some of the major drawbacks with this mech are the fact that its movements are still pretty stiff, and it only has a top speed of a little over 6 miles an hour, so it's pretty far off from the mechs and animes and the Metal Gears we know and love. But this is the first step in one day having those technologies, and every journey begins with a single step. This has been Doughboy with Hardcore Academy, and peace out.